We don't own anything anymore. You rent your car through your lease. You rent your movies on Netflix. You get your video games on Game Pass or some other live service. You rent your home or pay a mortgage, so the bank actually owns the house. You can even rent your regular daily jeans now. You can even rent Christmas trees. And so, in this modern world where we either have digital access or are just renting access, gone are the days when consumers went to a store and bought physical media. And this shift into digital media has made things more convenient, sure. But many people do not fully understand that when you purchase digital goods, you do not truly own them. If you buy M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender on Amazon Video for $14.99, you do not actually own it. I don't know why you'd be buying this movie at all, frankly. Maybe that's a you problem and you should seek help. But the point remains, buying digital media actually means buying a license to use that media under certain conditions. And because it's just a license, those digital goods can be taken away, altered, or made entirely inaccessible at any time by the company that truly owns them. And we've seen media get altered often. The version of Return of the Jedi you got in the DVD special editions is different from what you'd see if you streamed Return of the Jedi on Disney Plus right now. Darth Vader did not say no in the original film, but through licensing and George Lucas's intervention himself, that was added later on in the Blu-ray copies. The media is now very different, and therefore the viewing experience is now extremely different. New viewers will see the ending and think that Vader yells no in the final confrontation, but in the original films, Vader's silence is what helps sell the scene. But it's not just a Star Wars issue here. There are all kinds of media that if you don't have an original physical copy of, you either cannot experience it the same way again, or cannot experience it at all. So this form of digital commerce is leading to one clear destination. You won't own video games anymore. Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Pondering. I am the real-life fake wizard. If this video brings you any value at all, I invite you to subscribe to this channel where we're posting new videos nearly every day. In recent legal news, the state of California, of all places, has taken a significant step in addressing the issue of digital ownership. Assembly Bill AB 2426 targets the way all digital goods, like games and movies and books, are marketed. That using words like buy or purchase in association with buying a digital copy of Astrobot, let's say, must now also come with terms explaining what the consumer is actually buying. They're buying revocable licenses, not actual ownership. If you're in California, you will see this hit places like the Nintendo Switch store, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Amazon Prime Video, even Steam. Virtually anywhere that you buy digital media will now have to display a notice about what you're actually buying. And unlike most things that California does, this is a great start to solving this problem. I couldn't even begin myself to try to solve this, but at least giving customers the truth to make informed decisions on purchases is a good place to begin. Most consumers are entirely unaware that their purchases are dependent on continued support from the platform or publishers that they're buying from. You buy a game on Steam. Well, your purchase is only as good as long as Steam is 1, online, 2, you have access to that account, and 3, the purchased title isn't delisted or taken offline due to licensing or legal agreements. Now, I got a lot of my education on this legal topic from my good friend Rick Hogue of Hogue Law, who broke down the legalities of this bill very thoroughly, and I've left a link to his analysis in the description of this video if you're interested, and I recommend checking it out. But something Rick brought up that I thought was very interesting. Should California enforce these new terms to digital commerce, will companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Amazon display those new terms on places outside of California, or just on California checkout pages alone? Will someone in New York City, like myself, also see these banners as well? It's something to think about, because if you were aware that your digital purchases are not really yours to own, and that you're buying a revocable license for the same dollar amount you'd spend on a physical copy, would you buy the physical copy instead? Should that information only be privileged to California? And what, would it take all 50 states passing similar bills to force companies to be transparent about what digital purchases actually mean? It will be interesting to see how this progresses. But the discussion doesn't stop here with California legalities. There are deeper talking points to this digital media discussion. Just this week, the case with Horizon Zero Dawn, which was released in 2017, had its base game delisted from Steam, PlayStation Network, and the Epic Games Store by Sony themselves. And they did this to force new buyers into paying $50 for the upcoming Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. Sony has their thing with remasters of generally new games, and while I don't understand the appeal, enough people keep buying these marginally different remastered games, so Sony keeps making them. Now, if you owned the original copy of Horizon, you can choose to buy the upgrade for $10, but by delisting the original, that media is virtually gone from all those stores. This goes back to that alteration and removal of media part of the discussion. There will be very clear differences in the original 2017 edition that players have now lost access to, unless you buy the complete edition for $39.99 or find a physical copy of the base game out in the wild. Delisting also removes any option of consumers getting the original game at a discounted rate. So for someone like me, who has never played Horizon, but might have been enticed to buy it at like $10 or so, won't have that option now, because it won't be there, because it's delisted. Oh my gosh, Horizon Zero Dawn is gone? Woe is me, right? That's not really a big deal. Well, sure, but it's the principle of the thing, isn't it? Just because the game is a platinum hit or whatever, doesn't mean we should lose access to experiencing that media the way it was intended in 2017. And the Horizon situation might not be the biggest deal in the world. You can still buy the complete edition on the market, and finding the base game on eBay is not super difficult right now at all. But what about games that don't have that option? What about live service games? A few weeks ago, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross was delisted entirely from all mobile app stores. Oh my gosh, Wizard, are you really going to use mobile games as an example here? Yes, it's a mobile game, sure, but it was also a live service game, and people paid a lot of money to play it. And it's actually a major entry in the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and it's gone. You've got 100 years or whatever of lore that take place inside the Union Cross game, and then there was that entire expansion introducing more characters in that Dark Road thing. All of that story content is, poof, gone. And because it was live service and routinely got updates based on new Disney releases, people were paying sometimes even $15 a week to get Battle Pass access. The game could be played for free, but if you wanted to collect everything, you needed to lay out a few handfuls of nickels. And again, it's gone. All those transactions are gone. Now, the live service aspect with spending money was turned off in 2021 when they stopped doing new updates, but the offline story mode was still available to be played for free. Well, not anymore. Unless you have the app still installed on your device, you cannot even find the listing pages for it now. Could the listing come back online at some point? Sure. Will it? I don't know. But if it doesn't, it will remain what it is today. Lost media. And I can hear the detractors in the comments now. Well, that's just part of the risk taken when you play digital games. You're accepting that risk. It's like, yeah, of course. That's the problem. What happens if Fortnite goes offline or World of Warcraft? What happens if these live service games cease to become accessible? Because it's a three-factor problem. 1. Monetary investment. All those dollars you've sunk into this product are gone. 2. Time investment. All those years you've sunk into World of Warcraft or Call of Duty or any other game that's designed to get you hooked on spending as much time inside of it as possible have led to nothing. And 3. All video games, movies, and media are art forms. It's artistic expression. And all that art, all those stories, all those ideas could and do disappear at the snap of a finger. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, well, the wizard is just yelling at the clouds. And sure, fine, but the corporations who own this media that you have invested your time, money, and emotions into do not give a damn about your investments. They don't care that you might care. And if, for some reason, they make some bad investments and things go sour with their shareholders, what's stopping them from pulling the plug on your media access points and going another way? And I don't just mean live service games. Remember, the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, and Steam are all online media access points. You know, this Kingdom Hearts example and saying World of Warcraft could shut down is impossibly small potatoes to someone like you. But what about all the games that have been delisted or lost because of stupid license agreements that expired? That is relevant to this conversation too. Earlier this year, we saw Deadpool and Wolverine hit the theaters and rake in over $1 billion at the box office. Now, having seen the film, I thought, ooh, it's been years since I played that Deadpool game on Xbox. Can I download it today? No, I cannot. The license between Marvel and Activision expired, so the game has been delisted, which means I'd need to turn to something like eBay to try and find a physical edition, which, because of the timeliness of the film in theaters, boosted the game's value to over $200 on the PlayStation 4. This Deadpool game wasn't even that good. It's certainly not worth $200. And then you begin to realize Deadpool is just scratching the surface. X-Men Origins Wolverine, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, Transformers War and Fall of Cybertron, Godzilla PlayStation 4, and countless more are completely inaccessible unless you find a physical copy out in the market, which then puts us into a supply and demand situation. Delisting digital games makes the physical ones worth a lot more. A couple weeks ago, I had a video with a sketch making fun of Nintendo. That I said I'm willing to spend $70 a piece to purchase each of the original Pokemon games again to play them on the Nintendo Switch. In the comments, I had people mocking me for not taking advantage of buying the games when they were available digitally on the 3DS. Well, actually, I did. I have the digital edition saved on my 3DS. But can you blame me for wanting to play the games on a larger screen with a larger remote and sync directly to my Pokemon Home account? I'm not a kid anymore. My hands are bigger, and they cramp up ridiculously when trying to hold the little portable systems. It's not fun. A lot of folks will say to sail the high seas and use emulators to experience all the games that I've discussed today. And that's a different conversation entirely. The point that I've been circling around here is that all of these issues, which may differ in size and scope, all go back to the same foundational issue. Corporations do not want you to own your games anymore. They want you to rent them. They want you to become reliant on them, and once you're reliant on them, they have full control to change the way they charge you and make their money. And this isn't just me making this up. They're saying this themselves. In January, we got Ubisoft exec says gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games for subscriptions to take off. They're saying the quiet part out loud, and their way of downplaying what they want is to say, quote, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having their own games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in gaming. And gamers grow comfortable in that aspect. You don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. Yeah, sure, Ubisoft. I love the idea that my Hello Kitty Island adventure save file could be locked to some server that I need a subscription to access. And what happens if the server goes down? What happens to my Hello Kitty friends? What happens if, like Google Stadia for example, the service gets entirely wiped out? Google may have refunded all purchases, but will you? What happens when the service shuts down and they don't refund? My friends, I said before, I don't have some master plan solution to all of this, but having companies explicitly tell you at checkout that you don't own digital media is a good start. I also believe that media should be accessible as physical editions, and I believe that subscription-only live service gaming is just too risky an investment. You put your dollars into whatever you want to. It's your money. But just be aware, if those live service games ever get canceled, if those places you bought your digital games from ever go belly up, or for some reason you lose access to your accounts, you've lost all your money and time invested too. My friends, I want to thank you for joining me for this Pondering special. If you liked this video, please consider hitting the like button. If you're new here and want to see more from me, consider hitting the subscribe button. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire. May the contrived thread of destiny be with you, like from the Acolyte. And for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. That's all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.